We're at Fulbeck in Lincolnshire for a new era in independent kart racing in the UK. The Super 1 British Karting Series is in its 37th year, but this is the first year it has been independent of any motorsports governing body, and big changes have been made. The introduction of the new ROC engine classes means there are places to be won at the ROC International Finals in Italy and ROC the Rio event in Las Vegas. Joining me is the Super 1 Championship organiser. It's been a difficult winter, I think it's fair to say that, but let's look at the positives. I particularly want to talk about the ROC and how that came about. How did that come about?
Well, the owner of Tony Kart, Mr. Rabatzi, invited us over to. They haven't got a series over here for the ROC or the Bridgestone tyres, so we had a deal there that we would run it, and we started late, but really positive. That the people that have come from nothing, and we've created the class. The mini ROC was over 20 registered already. Not everyone's here this weekend. But we sold engines again this weekend once people have seen it, and everyone's loving it.
And there's no doubt, I think, looking forward, the feedback I'm getting, I'm thinking, I know the championship finishes in August, but by the time we have the testing, and you're saying you've sold more engines this weekend, by the time we've tested through the summer and we've gone through the winter, it sounds to me like we could be looking at maybe 40 or 50 mini ROCs next season, maybe 20 in junior, 20 in senior. All of a sudden, that's getting quite a decent sized championship in its own right,
yeah.
No doubt. But just talk a little bit about the prizes as well that people get.
Yeah, the prizes. We know we're double what we get, because we've only had 2 to 3 months, and that's included Christmas, the winter, not the good weather. Now the sun shines, so God's looking after us as well. So the sun shines out, and people are. This is our first showcase meeting, and people are loving it. So if people want to test it, get in touch with us, and then we've got different dealers that can test the kart. We've got everything available. We've got a really amazing backup off the factory. They're wanting feedback all the time. They're providing us with all equipment for it, and the prize. The prize for the winner can go to Lenato and race against 450 people, or they can go to Las Vegas. So it's an amazing prize.
One young man on fire this weekend joins me. It's Jack Hobson. You've finished second in both of the mini ROC races so far, but the 2 Honda finals, you finished first. So 2 firsts, 2 seconds. Good weekend for you so far. How have you found it here at Fulbeck? Is this the sort of circuit that you like?
Yeah, I used to come here on my first year of karting, so I know it well.
Okay, and moving forward for the rest of the season, what sort of circuits are going to be the ones perhaps you're less experienced on, that you perhaps may have been to before but not so much experience, that you think you're going to be good at?
Rara and probably GYG.
How long have you been karting for, and how old are you now?
3 years, and I'm 12.
Okay, so you started when you're 9. How are you finding particularly the mini ROC? Obviously you had 2 good results so far. Taylor obviously on fire at the moment, but we'll see what happens today in the racing that we're going to be filming, of course. How have you found the mini ROC particularly?
Different, because it's 2-stroke, and obviously Honda's 4-stroke, and it's my first time in it, so hard.
Do I need to ask you which one you prefer?
Probably mini ROC.
Right, I thought so, because that's faster, but of course you love the winning in Honda Cadet. Can you carry on winning? Have you allowed yourself to think about winning the championship this year so far?
Well, yeah, of course I'm going to go for the win, but I'll try.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thanks.
Well, we're here to film the grand final on the Sunday. Let's have a look back at the results on the Saturday and the earlier pre-final today. On Saturday, winning both the pre-final and final, it was Jack Hobson, with Rylan Eckberg and Stephen Duncan second and third both times. But earlier today, it was Colin Leishman that took the win, ending Hobson's dominance. with Rhys Lomax coming through for second place and Stephen Duncan third this time. Let's have a look at the grid positions then. These grid positions made up from that earlier pre-final result. Top 10 look like this. Leishman from Lomax, Duncan, Hobson, Truman, McDuff, then Bocock, Lloyd, Oram and Henry Gregory. And the final four on the grid, Mason Thurlow from Ryland Ekberg, a little bit out of position I have to say. Sheng Rodriguez and Finley Whiting round out the grid. The grid marshal waves the green flag. We're about to get underway with the first televised race of the 2019 season, and here's Jake Sanson.
Under starters orders nice and clean as we head down to the first chicane here at fullback. It's going to be Connor Leishman who holds the inside line as they go down the main straight. He's going to have a little bit of a challenge and a bit of a poor start sadly for Rhys Lomax. He's going to drop into, is he going to be fourth? It might even end up being fifth as on the inside comes Brandon Truman. Truman's going to try and squeeze up into P4 as they head up to the S's for the first time. That is Stephen Duncan squeezing through into the S's and takes the lead. Nicely done. That name has already been reverberating around the circuits in Honda Cadet in the early part of this season in several different disciplines of Honda Cadet, and he is at the front end already. Second place, that is Connor Leishman. Up to third has come Jack Hobson in front of 57 Rhys Lomax. So it's all change in the top four. The same four drivers are there, but they have shuffled the deck of cards, so to speak. Fifth position, up from eighth is Vinnie Lloyd. What a start from him from the fourth row. The 79 is now in P5, chasing down our squadron leaders. Duncan leading, Leishman second, Hobson in third. Not for long, Hobson dives for the inside and grabs that second position. Good fight back from the championship leader, Jack Hobson. Did a cracking job yesterday. Now he's here again today, looking for a strong victory. I tip him for championship success in 2019. That kid is already on fire in various different categories of Honda Cadet. He's making the move on Stephen Duncan already into the S's and through. Jack Hobson from third to first in half a lap. Very nicely done indeed. So Hobson leads the way. Stephen Duncan was the race leader from Aberdeenshire. Not anymore. And now on the inside to third comes Rhys Lomax. Rhys Lomax makes his way through. The Chigwellian is now in P3, the number 57. On a spin. That is a disaster for Caleb McDuff. What a shame for Caleb. He, of course, is under the Silence Racing banner. He is aiming to become the first deaf racing driver to take victory in Super 1. And over the course of this season, he should be very much on the song for that. He's been making great development over the last 18 months. And here he is at Super 1 series level. He's definitely going to be a contender as the season progresses. What a late lunge there. As up the inside, Henry Gregory makes the move on Brandon Truman. Good move from Henry Gregory. So now he moves his way up into P6 past Brandon Truman. Behind them is the 71 of Ryland Ekberg. He is there in 8th place. 9th at the moment is the 29, that is Mason Thurlow. And then rounding out the top 10 is the 81 of Finley Whiting. So they come through onto the final section of the course. You come into that tight left-hander and then a double square right that brings you onto that flick to the left for the end of the course. It can be very easy to go off here. I've seen several big accidents around this fullback circuit. It is a speed demon's playground. You absolutely love pushing those apexes and charging for the maximum as they come through to the S's at the beginning of the next lap. And Jack Hobson is there, still in front of Stephen Duncan. The pace is looking good from these 3 or 4 drivers up at the front end. So Rhys Lomax is dealing with Connor Leishman for the moment. There is Gregory now into 6th place. Has come Vinnie Lloyd once again. And that, well, no, actually, they've swapped positions, haven't they? Because Gregory was behind Lloyd. So now Henry Gregory has charged his way through from what was 10th on the grid. He's now in P5. So great work from Henry Gregory. He's already gone halfway through the field. Into the right hairpin. These 4 breaking well clear. Rhys Lomax is now the man challenging Stephen Duncan. Looks to me as though Connor Leishman is just doing his best to hang on in there and doing a fine job of that in P4. So far, so good for Jack Hobson, who leads the way. He was the fastest man of the race in the previous final. A 52.104 was the best lap he set, and that was a good 0.2 of a second faster than the man who eventually won that race, and that was Connor Leishman, who was there in P4. So they come down the straight, up towards turn 5. This is the moment for Lomax. Up the inside, makes the move on Stephen Duncan into P2. Beautifully timed, absolutely disciplinarian to the last moment of the braking zone. That one down. Now up into 6th position behind Henry Gregory has come Ryland Ekberg. Let's watch them through the S's. Whoa! Goodness me. You don't half get airborne if you get it slightly awry, and Finley Whiting had 2 wheels up in the air. Let's have a look at that again. Took a lot of curb as he tries to close in on the man in front. Now that's all 4 wheels, in fact, off the deck. Goodness me. The 55 Brandon Truman is being caught by him, and Finley Whiting, who is in Top Gun mode. never mind top gear. Round the final corner and onto the main straight. Plenty of action from the Super 1 Series in 2019. You can catch all the details on the official website. If you want to get into karting, your local kart club and circuit is the place to start. abkc.org.uk for all the details to get yourself started in the world of British karting. Up the inside, a brilliant move from Brandon Trueman. Kicked off nicely there on Vinnie Lloyd, and now the next man in for a go is Finlay Whiting, and we already know how hard he'll push. Just over 7 minutes left on the clock. Finlay Whiting, goodness me, he likes that line on the inside.
Yeah, I just want to interject a bit there, Jake. Completely illegal, if you like, because he's all four wheels over the white line. But hey, listen, that is the fastest way around the chicane, and if you can get away with it, and he is getting away with it, you carry on doing it. You can see the difference in the line that he takes compared to every other driver in the field, but he's clearly not getting a warning, and he knows already. We'll see this in later races, by the way, through that chicane, where some of the less experienced drivers here at Fullbeck don't even clip the curb at all, but the faster drivers, the drivers with a lot more experience, do take a lot of that curb, but none more so than the Finlay Whiting. But that's Henry Gregory. He's spun out of 6th place. No contact there, Jake. He's just spun out, and that is a shame because he was going well.
What a shame. He just got too much of the kart over the curb, and that was all it took. What a disaster. Having a great race up until that point, but sadly it is now game over. And that's separated the top 4 from the rest of the pack a little bit, because that's spaced them out. Up to 5th has come Rylan Ekberg, and then we've got the battling trio behind. We'll keep an eye on them as the race continues on. Over the line, Jack Hobson still leading the way, and Stephen Duncan is getting very feisty behind Rhys Lomax. He wants a piece of him once again as they come through the first S's and up towards the hairpin. Is this the moment of truth? Yes, it is. Lovely. Beautiful move that is from Stephen Duncan to get through on the inside of Rhys Lomax. Timed it to perfection on the way through. Now behind Ekberg, we've got the 81 of Finlay Whiting. He's already gone airborne a couple of times, and he seems to find that that line works for him. Meanwhile, the leaders are making their way up to the second sector. They've gone through that flowing left-hander and into the right hairpin. Up towards those final 4 corners that complete the lap. Jack Hobson just checking over his right shoulder. He's got plenty of time on his hands, just over 5 minutes left of the race. But still lots of battling to come from these 4. There's Ekberg just trying to stay with it. Whiting is next. Then the 2 drivers in behind are Brandon Trueman and Vinnie Lloyd, having a great little scrap. But unfortunately, at the expense of Henry Gregory, who spun off on that previous tour. Behind them is the 29, that is Mason Thurlow. That's Brandon Trueman's details you're looking at on the right-hand side of your screen as he battles away with the 81 of Finlay Whiting. So they battle away for position. The leading 4, well, it's almost the leading 5, because Rylan Ekberg is stepping up the pace and is trying to close in. These 3 have well and truly broken clear, with Stephen Duncan having made that move last lap on Rhys Lomax. Those 3 have definitely started to drop Connor Leishman just a tad, so the gap has opened up. There is daylight between them, but Jack Hobson is now under pressure from the next man in, and that is Stephen Duncan. So through the double right apex, back on the power. There's Ekberg looking back to Whiting, there he still is, and then we've got the likes of Trueman and Lloyd still battling away. And behind them it is Mason Thurlow, and up into the top 10 has come Shane Rodriguez-Zadair. So they've come through now into the top 10, those 2. And it's these 3 still challenging for the last race of the weekend for Honda Cadet as they battle away for position, and the man leading the race is the man I tip for this championship. It could be any one of these 3, but in terms of how well their early 2019 season form has been in club meetings up and down the country, here at Super 1, this man has proven to be on the pace again, and it's going to be a very wily racing driver who will beat Jack Hobson in 2019 at Super 1 in Honda Cadet, but he's got 2 of them on his tail right at the moment. Stephen Duncan and Rhys Lomax all over him. Connor Leishman, though, is a race winner. He won the previous race. Wasn't filmed, unfortunately, but there he was in 4th position now, and race winner in the previous final. Shows you once again just how competitive Honda Cadet is at this level, and in Super 1 it is going to have quite a few different players who will come out up to the top end. Now that's Vinnie Lloyd's details, 7th position, the number 79. We'd expect big things from him in the second half of the season. He's already started the way he needs to go on, looking to be one of the top rookies of the 2019 season. Of course, Jack Hobson is the leader, but then he's got two rookies right on his tail. Stephen Duncan and Rhys Lomax have been following their progress up and down the country at various points. Finley Whiting still trying to go Thunderbird 1 and take off through that particular chicane. Goodness me, it's FAB as far as Finley Whiting's concerned. Up and through into the last few corners of the lap. But now, Rylan Ekberg, watch back. We might be able to see, has a move on as Gregory makes his move to come back through the field, and that's on Oliver Bocock. And next up in the mix, we've got the 74 of Shane Rodriguez, and then it's Fraser Oram in the mix there as well. So a nice little battle as Henry Gregory continues to recover. I was going to make the point that Connor Leishman is actually being caught now by Rylan Ekberg as these guys continue to battle away. Shane Rodriguez trying to keep it up. Look, and actually through. Ekberg has gone through. So Ekberg into fourth position now and has the audacity to gesture to Connor Leishman. Come on, let's go catch the three you couldn't catch on your own, mate. And now they charge forward. Great to see the gamesmanship and the signals and the strategy that you see from these drivers in the queue. There goes Thurlow. 77 goes through Henry Gregory, and the three men still battling in behind as the leaders make their way through to the chicane. This is a part of the course, this double right-hander. You see plenty of incidents as drivers see a gap and decide to go for it. But look, these two, this is very wise driving from Stephen Duncan. He's realised if he drops Rhys Lomax and works with Jack Hobson to get away, it's going to be a two-man fight, not a three-man fight. So he's working with him. He's not going to have Rhys Lomax in this fight as far as he's concerned. He's going to work with Jack Hobson. They're going to edge away from Rhys and battle head-to-head for the victory. Classic Super 1. Great to see that the racing has not changed. Even if the status quo has a little bit, the racing is still as fast and furious as ever. And these two, Jack Hobson versus Stephen Duncan, battling away for glory in the first round of this championship. And they'll have plenty to do over the course of the season. Don't forget, they'll head to Rowrah, to Gleneagles, to Larkhall and to Shennington over the course of the season. It would be very nice indeed for these drivers to get the 2019 season off to a strong start. Jack Hobson already leading the championship, wants to keep that bandwagon rolling. We're back with the midfield battle. That is Oram being chased down by the 85 of Oliver Bocock. So Oram has obviously made up a couple of positions, and Shane Rodriguez is still there in the 74. They're into the penultimate lap now. We're less than a minute to go as the leaders have come across the line already. There they are, Hobson and Duncan, then Lomax, Ekberg, Leishman. Look back to sixth position. It should still be Finley Whiting, and it is. So the leaders make their way through the S's, but Ekberg, having got through on Leishman, seems to have just disappeared and stormed off. Time is down to nothing, so there'll be one lap to go after this one. And this is it as far as Jack Hobson versus Stephen Duncan is concerned. They'll come into the left-hander. Double square right apex as they continue flowing through. And now they've just got that one final lap. This is where all the cards are basically being held by Stephen Duncan. He's got every opportunity now in the last lap to charge after Jack Hobson. Hobson has got to defend like stink to keep Stephen Duncan at bay. Rhys Lomax in third position does not want to give up the ghost yet. There might just be an opportunity as further back Brandon Truman has made the move on Vinnie Lloyd to get up into P7. Look, Hobson has dropped the hammer. He wants to get away from Stephen Duncan. This has got to be the qualifying lap of his life essentially to get away from the 16 of Stephen Duncan, and so far so good. I don't think Duncan's close enough to make the move yet. So he might have a try into the hairpin. No, he's too far back. He's got to make one final swoop into the left-hander coming up. And Hobson knows he's probably going to go for it. Checking over his shoulder, perhaps a little bit too much. A little bit of nerves, a bit of tentativeness creeping in. But he's just about got enough. This could go down to the line. Stephen Duncan needs a perfect exit. And he's going to try, but Hobson's going to get there first. Brilliant victory from Jack Hobson in front of Stephen Duncan, Rhys Lomax, Rylan Ekberg and Connor Leishman. Fantastic opening Honda Cadet finale to the 2019 season. That is absolutely spectacular racing, and it proves that in terms of the quality of race battles on track, not much has changed in the last few months at all. So Hobson takes the victory from Duncan and Lomax, Ekberg in P4 from Connor Leishman and Finley Whiting. In the top 10 with them are Vinnie Lloyd, Brandon Truman, Henry Gregory after a good fight back drive, and Mason Thurlow rounding out the 10.
Jack, dominating performance from you this weekend. 3 of the 4 races you won, and you won the TV final there. Just talk us through it.
Well, in the pre-final of the Honda, I had a coming together with the number 71, which put me into 5th place, but he got a 1-lap penalty, so I was in 4th for the final. And then in the final, me and my teammate Stephen, we just tried to get together and push away.
And you managed to do that. Who do you want to thank for your win?
Synergy for the kart, RPM for the power, and my mum and dad.
It is Jack Hobson that has the championship lead on 250 from Stephen Duncan just 8 behind. Then comes Rhys Lomax, Rylan Ekberg and Connor Leishman rounding out the top 5. More racing coming up in part 2.